Today, we're tackling 3 seismic stories shaping hydrogen's trajectory: superconducting hydrogen motors taking flight, the shockwaves of U.S. federal project cancellations, and the revived enthusiasm among hydrogen investors led by Plug Power's industry-defining operational leaps. Settle in, we're unpacking each topic with the technical, economic, and market detail they deserve. All of this on today's Hydrogen Podcast. Let's start with what could go down as the pivotal moment in aviation decarbonization. The partnership between Airbus UpNext and Toshiba has delivered the Cryoprop demonstrator, a 2-megawatt superconducting electric motor cooled by liquid hydrogen, which also serves as the aircraft's fuel. The system is not merely a clever hack. It leverages hydrogen's ultra-cold state, minus 253 degrees Celsius, to transform the fundamental engineering of flight. By using hydrogen's cryogenic properties for both cooling and combustion, superconductors are sustained at their most efficient state, resulting in almost zero electrical resistance and maximal power delivery. The most remarkable achievement here is the unprecedented power density and efficiency. The Cryoprop motor packs 10 times the power density of a conventional propulsion motor. Due to the drastic reduction in copper windings and overall system heat loss, this makes the motor incredibly light for its output, paving the way for larger aircraft to adopt purely electric hydrogen propulsion systems. Technologically, this allows aircraft to carry more payload, fly farther without sacrificing energy, and optimize range for regional and mid-haul missions, 2 segments that account for a significant share of commercial aviation's CO2 emissions. Economically, the numbers are just as groundbreaking. MIT Energy Systems models indicate hydrogen-powered aircraft optimized for these missions can nearly match the fuel efficiency of kerosene jets on design range and beat their emissions profile by an order of magnitude when you factor in drastically reduced NOx, SOx, and PM 2.5. This is important since particulate and NOx emissions from airports remain a public health crisis. The capex for liquid hydrogen refueling and ultra-cold infrastructure is high. Think $10 to $40 million per large airport. But the operational cost savings from efficiency and streamlined maintenance begin to pay for themselves by the 3rd or 5th year of rollout, especially as green hydrogen prices push toward the $2 per kilogram mark. Airbus, with an eye on total cost of ownership, is targeting commercial rollout by 2035. Betting that a maturing ecosystem of suppliers like motors, tanks, fuel cells, and refueling tech will keep driving down costs and accelerating adoption across the world's busiest corridors. Globally, this technology is being watched by more than just the aviation sector. Superconducting motors cooled by hydrogen are likely to bleed into other domains: shipping, space launch, and even high-speed rail, amplifying the market for hydrogen and providing a virtuous cycle of scale economies. If even a fraction of a projected market forecast hold, 29% compound annual growth rate for hydrogen aircraft through 2032, the policy, industrial, and health returns will be immense. And next to segment 2, the U.S. hydrogen policy earthquake. The U.S. hydrogen sector was rocked this month when the Trump administration pulled the rug from under clean energy and hydrogen, zeroing out more than $8 billion in federal support for over 220 projects and hinting at $16 billion more at risk. The cuts target everything from California's Arches Hydrogen Hub, which is a partnership poised to unlock $10 billion in private capital and create over 200,000 jobs, to flagship mobility and grid modernization efforts in both blue and red states. Blue states face immediate lost jobs, gutted supply chains, and delayed gains in air quality and grid resilience, while red state oil and gas hydrogen efforts, like SMR with CCS, get a temporary reprieve, although leaked documents foreshadow broader impacts in the next round. The economic ripple is vast. California stands to lose tens of billions of dollars in local GDP growth and, more importantly, billions in potential healthcare cost savings that would come from air pollution reductions. Nationally, this realigns the playing field. State consortia now scramble to fill funding gaps with private capital, corporate alliances, and international joint ventures. The policy volatility has catalyzed risk-sharing models that blend public and private investment, intensifying competition and raising the bar for project execution quality. even in red states. The episode is promoting more diversified hydrogen business models, pivoting towards methane pyrolysis, natural hydrogen, and smaller modular SMR CCS installations that have a faster time to market and are less dependent on mega project grants. Globally, the U.S. policy flip-flop is making other regions reconsider their own strategies. Europe's green hydrogen sector, stalled by slow FID and persistent policy bottlenecks, is watching closely. The U.S. experience reinforces the argument that offtake contracts, not subsidies or political pronouncements, are the real investment trigger. In Asia, Japan is quickening the shift toward direct enforceable market guarantees and lower capital risk for hydrogen mobility and industrial projects, while Australia strengthens its focus on pathway-specific economics, green steel, ammonia exports, and port-based clusters with built-in demand. The bottom line? The hydrogen sector's maturation is being driven less by public posturing and more by commercial proof and the ability to deliver measurable ROI. U.S. federal cuts may slow down headline projects, but are fast-tracking the transition toward nimble, market-driven approaches that, paradoxically, could leave the sector stronger and more resilient if developers and investors play their cards right. And now in segment 3, let's talk about Plug Power's resilience and investor rebound. Plug Power stands as the emblematic case of both the bruises and the breakthroughs in the U.S. hydrogen landscape. Written off by analysts only a year ago after more than $2 billion in losses and a precipitous drop in share price, Plug Power has staged a comeback anchored in operational excellence, technological integration, and investor trust. Recent weeks saw Plug's Georgia plant hit record output, over 324 metric tons in a single month, with unprecedented uptime and production availability, reflecting a hard-won focus on logistical reliability and supply network depth. By vertically integrating its business from electrolyzer and fuel cell manufacturing to network design and hydrogen delivery, Plug Power has built one of the world's most flexible hydrogen ecosystems. This shields it from federal policy volatility more effectively than pure hydrogen production startups chained to subsidy timing. The new $3 per kilogram hydrogen production tax credit, recently extended by bipartisan legislation, is another tailwind. This allows Plug to unlock project-level economics, subsidizing production while focusing on large bankable deals with credit-worthy customers like Amazon, Walmart, and niche European grid operators. Financially, Plug's investor toolkit is equally adaptive. The firm has broadened its equity sale channels, establishing flexible at-the-market offerings to shore up working capital and de-risk project schedules, while recent analyst upgrades project a revenue climb towards $700 million in 2025. These results, combined with positive news coverage and investor optimism, recently propelled by Plug's stock up over 50% in just 2 days, reinforcing faith that hydrogen remains a high-reward play for those who can weather the shocks and deliver margin at scale. Perhaps the most important facet, operational discipline. Plug has bet hard on margin-based growth, not just top-line expansion, ensuring that every new customer win and plant extension demonstrably moves the profitability needle. This execution-first strategy is being cited as a blueprint for sector maturity by global investors and is now setting the tone for competitive project development, whether in North America, Europe, or Asia. And now let's bring it all together. So where does all of this bring us? First, Aviation's quantum leap in superconductive hydrogen motors validates the technical premise behind net zero air transport and demonstrates how incremental advances in materials science, cooling physics, and system architecture can reset what's possible for an entire sector. For these advances to become mainstream, we need both CapEx and OpEx discipline, policy frameworks that incentivize big airport retrofits, and a willingness among airlines to try new aircraft and network designs. The result isn't just lower CO2. It's a dramatic public health boost by eliminating NOx, SOx, and particulate emissions linked to thousands of premature deaths annually around major airports. Second, U.S. policy disruption has forced the industry to confront a hard truth. Even enormous federal funding is no guarantee of commercial success. Instead, the projects that are getting off the ground now mirror what works abroad. Binding offtake agreements with regulated utilities, cornered supply contracts for European offtakers, and backed integrated developers with real cash flow. As political winds shift, Watch for more medium-scale modular projects with built-in demand and diversified capital stacks. Finally, Plug Power's Rebound demonstrates the value of controlling your own fate, even in turbulent markets. Its example will likely drive other hydrogen players to focus on operational integration, margin improvement, and commercial hedges against policy risk. As the sector keeps growing toward a global market forecasted over 29% annual growth in aviation alone, expect to see bolder, more disciplined bets across the hydrogen value chain. If you take one lesson away from today's episode, let it be this: hydrogen innovation, resilience, and discipline are what will ultimately transform the sector, not the latest grant program or political headline. Aviation's zero emissions promise is now proven on the test bench. Project developers are pivoting to robustness over rhetoric, and investor confidence is rushing to those who execute with skill and strategy. That's what will define the hydrogen decade ahead. All right, that's it for me, everyone. If you have a second, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a good review on whatever platform it is that you listen to. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, whatever it is. That would be a tremendous help to the show. And as always, if you ever have any feedback, you're welcome to email me directly at info@thehydrogenpodcast.com. So until next time, keep your eyes up and honor one another.